Hello everyone and welcome back to part 3 of turning my 2009 Citroen Berlingo into a microcamper. In part 2 I was concentrating on the kitchen area, which is now more or less finished, and that was made from using a upcycled old pine TV cabinet, which was a £10 marketplace buy. Now in this one I'm hopefully going to be doing similar and using a household item to turn into my sofa cum bed. Now the only issue I have is I have to be making this sofa cum bed so that I can also keep a passenger seat in the back. So that's where it's all going to get a little bit confusing. But for those of you who watched part 2, you will see I just randomly make it up as I go along and hope that it all comes together in the end. Right, I am going to now show you what item I'm going to be using. Well, in keeping with the upcycling and recycling theme, this is a 3/4 pine bed, which I'm going to try and use for my sofa cum bed. I've measured it and it should work perfectly. Got to say, it is all coming together really well. I did have a couple of cups of tea while I was working out exactly how I was going to do it. I've now got all my bits cut. I've got loads left, which I'm thinking might do the unit behind the front seats. So I'll save money not having to buy wood for that as well. So yeah, just nipped up to B&Q and had to buy some of these little fixing blocks. So I'm gonna get the front, the back and one side screwed on and then measure where the other one's got to go, because that's the one which is gonna sit where the seat is. So right, and I've got my canopy out on Daisy because it is so warm. So in the garden the sun is all over the garden and I thought, oh, it's too hot to be cutting wood and this, that and the other, and I thought, I know, let's get the canopy out. So much better. Love it when a plan comes together. Oh. Right, so I'm thinking if I make the sofa so it kind of sits flush with the driver's seat, that's leaving me enough room to get between the sofa and this unit. I can get that door open. I will be painting the inside of that cupboard as well, and it's certainly deep enough to be comfortable to sit on. Right, that's my plan. That's how wide it's going to be. This is definitely a case of doing it all in stages and then having a little think in between each stage what I'm going to do next. I've really, yeah, this is it's got my brain working, this one, I'm not gonna lie. Don't like my brain working too much, it hurts my head, but that's the general gist. So ooh, sit on very carefully because I've got slidey slats. Now I think once the foam's on, I'm still gonna have a little bit of head height. I'm not gonna be hitting the roof here. I will be in the middle because it's a bit lower there, but that end and this end are gonna be fine. And I'm not being funny, how often am I actually gonna be sat upright? I mean, I don't slide about because I don't want my slats to fall out. Who misses? yeah. Really selling this, aren't I? Come and sit in my comfortable Berlingo, come and relax. No, honestly, once the foam's on, I know it's going to be absolutely fine. So the seat is in the up position there. Right, just jump back out. So if I then drop the seat down, oh, and this is the bit I've got to work out next, because whatever goes here has got to be removable. I have a plan, but first of all, I'm going to have a cuppa and have a think about it and sit in the shade. Saving a few more pennies because I'm recycling the original screws off the bed to hold all the slats down. Right. Ta-da! You, I just banged my head. As you'll see, I've now got a sofa. Well, kind of a sofa. I thought I would show you it in its raw state so you can see kind of the plan that I came up with in the end. So I put the slats on, which were all the slats off the pine bed. And for this end, because this had to be removable, because I've got to be able to get access to the seat underneath, this was the bit where it all kind of got a bit confusing, because also I had to allow for passengers being able to get in and out easily without having to climb over bits of wood and things like that. So what I came up with, and I did have to go and buy a piece of 8 or 9 mil ply from B&Q, bought a big sheet. However, although I've only used a little bit here, I am going to be using the rest of it as well in other places. So yeah, this is now my sofa as it is. I have got the foam, which I'm going to pop on in a minute and show you that as well. So let me just bob outside and I will show you how it all works. Right, so obviously passengers are going to be getting in this side. Oh, they could get in that side if they wanted. So this piece of wood just quite simply lifts off, and that will store just down there or thereabouts, and then the seat can just be popped into place. Just move my sunscreen and ta-da! There we have it. One seat for passengers. We've got a little armrest as well, so you think of everything, me. So yeah, I've done it. I've made a sofa, as you'll see, come bed, and still been able to keep a passenger seat in place. So, and get back out, and then like bye, say goodbye to the passengers, put the seat back down, pop the piece of wood back on. So I have actually made it so this piece is a little bit lower, so it just stops it sliding about. So that's, yeah, that's quite sturdy. So that is how I've done it, so that my passengers can still get in and out the car and have a seat. Right, now got my foam to pop back in. I've actually gone for, it's 8 centimeters deep, because I was very aware of still having head height when I'm sat down, and I don't want my head to be touching the roof. First of all, I had 10 centimeters in the basket, but I thought that might just be a little bit too thick, and it's a medium density foam. Now, the last time I bought foam, I bought the hard foam, and to be honest, it was way too hard. You sat on it and there was like no give whatsoever. So yeah, I've gone for the medium. So I've ordered it in 4 pieces, which I will now pop on. So that one goes there, that one goes there, that one will go there, and that one will just sit in there. Right, so another thing that I had to sort of work around was, I'll just bring you closer so you can see. Now, obviously, on this part, the door is set back further than here, if you look. So that foam is going to sit back a little bit more than this one. Now, because of how I like everything to aesthetically please me, I'm going to have to put a bit of a throw and a cushion here to disguise this fact, because that is going to irritate me slightly. So yeah, this is how they sit. I've also got the thing off the seat where it sort of fastens into place, so that's there as well. But fortunately, the foam just sits nicely round that. So as you can see, I'll have to move you again. Just want you to have the full effect. Right. I will go in from this side so you're not having to just keep looking at my bottom. Right, so if I'm sat here, obviously I'm going to put some cushions behind the driver's seat, and you'll see I've still got a little bit of head height there, which is absolutely perfect. And then the same here. I'm sitting here doing a bit of washing up, and I am upright here as well, and yet my head is just touching there, but it's doable. If I stretch up, my head's on the roof, but it's going to be, I'm in a car at the end of the day, aren't I? I'm not in a van or anything. So, and I've got to say, it is actually really, really, oh, now I've hit my head because of this low bit. I will have to remember that, don't sit in the middle. It's actually really comfortable. So I can see with some cushions, sat here, looking out, not at a fence, at a lovely view. Back open, lovely view. And it is long enough. I will just take my shoes off to excuse my teddy bear socks. So look at this. I sit here, leaning back, taking it all in. That is actually really comfortable, because you can use the headrest off the seat as a headrest. Oh yeah, brilliant. So I'm now going to show you it as a bed. Now, in thinking up this bed design, I know most little conversions have the standard pull out, so it's basically slats on a frame and the whole lot pulls out, and then that makes up your bed. The problem I had with that is with having the seat in. Couldn't do it because the seat was in the way. So I had to think outside the box, and the plan that I've come up with is I have 2 flaps on the front. These pop up on legs. Now I've still got to just put some little blocks behind the legs just to stop them moving from that 90-degree position, which is my job today. So yeah, that one comes up first. And then you do the same with this one. and those two legs in the middle go together. So that makes up the base, and you just drop the back cushions into place, which go there, and then pull the driver's seat forward. And then you've got your bed. So I am 5'6", and I can quite easily lay down, and there's still probably 4 inches, I would say, above my head, and I haven't got the seat moved all the way forward. So for anyone taller than me, you could quite easily stretch out of a night. And then width wise, look at that, absolutely perfect. And then in the morning I can just put my stove on, make my cuppa while I lay in bed. I'm actually really impressed with myself that I have managed to do this. There come a bit where I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But I have now got a sofa and a bed, all made from an old pine bed. Then, to pop it all away, is just basically everything in reverse. Those down. Now, I also wanted to do it so that it could be put up without me having to get, I know I've been getting out the vehicle to show you putting it up, but it can all be done without actually stepping outside, because that was quite important, because I thought if it's raining, I don't want to be having to keep getting in and out to make a bed up, especially with 2 dogs in here as well. I thought that is just going to be an absolute nightmare. And then also there is just enough room for me and my bottom to sit between the kitchen and the sofa. Now I just can't wait to actually get somewhere in it, because I've got a kitchen and I've got a bed. I do need to recover, well, actually cover the foam. It was quite fortunate that they've come in grey, because that is the colour I'm gonna go with as well. My last cushions were quite a horrible blue colour, so I'm quite pleased they are grey, because if I can't get the fabric to recover them before next week, I'm just gonna leave them as they are and just put some throws over the top of them. So that'll be my next job, I think, is covering these. Now I have still got my storage unit at the front between, well, behind the front seats and sort of coming into the back area, the sort of like footwell bit. Now that's going to get held up, I think, because that's the area where I want my compressor fridge to go. So until I've got that, I don't really know how I'm gonna sort of do the unit behind the seats, because everything's kind of going to be built around the fridge. So until that comes, that's going to be held up, but that's not a biggie. As I say, it's still perfectly usable as it is. Now I'm just going to show you a little bit of storage under the front end of the sofa. So obviously I've got all this area here where I'm going to get some little boxes which can then just go under there. So I've got under there for storage, and this area
underneath the front bit, because it's kind of a bit of dead space, my duvet actually fits perfectly in there. And a duvet is a bulky item, so that hidden away under there in the day is going to be absolutely fab, and it's still using the space that otherwise wouldn't be used. You will have to excuse the state of my floor. Need to get the Hoover out. Right, well that is the end of part 3 of my Berlingo conversion. I hope you will join me for part 4. So on that note, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.